You are listening to the Real Men Feel Show with your hosts, Andy Grant and Appio Hunter. Real Men Feel is all about encouraging men to allow and express all of their emotions. Despite what you may have been taught, all emotions do serve you. Real Men Feel is committed to opening up discussions that most men aren't having, but you certainly don't need to be a man to join us. The Real Men Feel podcast is produced live every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern for your growth and enjoyment. You can find more information about the Real Men Feel movement at realmenfeel.org. Come back often and feel free to add the podcast to your favorite RSS feed or subscribe on iTunes by visiting realmenfeel.org/iTunes. You can also follow us on Twitter at realmenfeel.org and at facebook.com/realmenfeelshow. All links mentioned in each episode are in the show notes found on the blog at realmenfeel.org. This is a weekly program, and your comments, feedback, and participation are welcome during the live show and anytime in the Facebook group, on Twitter, or at realmenfeel.org. Now, let's get into this week's show.
Hello, welcome to Real Men Feel. This is your host, Andy Grant. It is a pleasure to have you joining me today. I am alone today. Again, I'm your host, Andy Grant. I'm an author, coach, and speaker. And I'm doing this show, episode 63, tonight alone because it was supposed to have happened back on June 13th, 2017. But instead, I'm recording this today, August 15th. This is a spur-of-the-moment, unannounced program. Real Men Feel hasn't had a live show since June 6th. We were planning a 3-week break in late June and over July 4th. But since I canceled the June 13th show with just 2 hours notice to our guest, John Patrick Mayer, and my co-host, Appio Hunter, we never got to explain to you our planned 3-week break. But, it doesn't really matter. So, welcome back to Real Men Feel. This is the first show in 9 weeks. I didn't invite anyone. I didn't promote this at all. I haven't even spoken to Appio since our last program in June. Real men feel alone, desperate, withdrawn, isolated, apathetic, miserable, and everything else. Real men feel like shit. Real men can feel like they aren't even real. Real men can question whether they are men. Real men feel or can feel disappointed in themselves. I know this is all true because that's how I've been feeling. I've been feeling this way for many months. So given that I've been completely out of touch, isolated and withdrawn, I thought I would show up today and talk about why. The why is that I gave up. I stopped. I was so disappointed in my circumstances, in my decisions, in my actions. So disappointed in myself and my life that I was just overwhelmed with so much negative emotion. On that June 13th day, I couldn't speak to anyone. I could not have held it together. Even as anything close to what I'm doing right now, I couldn't have held it together to speak about anything except how evidently shitty I felt. So again, with 2 hours notice, that show got canceled. And what was happening that very week was that my wife and I were really rushing and full of anxiety and at least panic on my side to clean our house, to clear it out, to move things. We're having weekends of yard sales in May to get ready to put our house on the market. And our agent really wanted to rush and have us. We had to be on the market by the middle of June to get the people moving for school and blah blah blah. So there's that week. I didn't want to do that. Neither my wife nor I wanted to sell the house, but financial pressures felt like we didn't have an option. So to get ahead of it, that's what we're doing. So we're doing things that I didn't want to do. I so did not want to be doing this that I injured myself in May. I sprained my right wrist and then I tore a muscle in my left forearm. So I was, handicapped trying to move furniture and clean things and do stuff. And because I didn't want to do it, I truly did not want to be moving forward on these paths of life that were showing up for me. I had blogged about what was happening earlier this year in April and May. I think it was in April, I talked about my dark night of the soul and wrote a blog post from my lowest point about how depressed and suicidal I was feeling. But I think I was depressed, but it was different. And I wasn't feeling suicidal, and how this was different and willing to feel it all. And another post about dealing with my dad's battle with dementia and mourning the loss of him already, because he wasn't my dad. I already lost the guy that I could talk to, and I couldn't talk about these fears. I couldn't talk about the financial constraints. I couldn't talk about how bad I was feeling because I didn't want it to trigger something in him. There's also ongoing some long-term unemployment and my own failures to focus and take action on creating self-employment that would carry us through financially. So again, just a real time of self-doubt, disappointment, feeling horrible, just lots of self-judgment, not seeing any way out. We ended up selling my pinball machines. I sold all my Metallica stuff. I sold all of my Kiss merchandise and materials. And the way I could do that was kind of by being suicidal. Like, none of this matters. Take it away. Fine. Take that. $2. I just don't care. Buddha says that, life is pain and pain comes from attachment. And I mean, there's going to be a better way to do it, but I detached from my stuff, and it just somehow spiraled for me. I got through all of that by detaching from life. I knew I could not kill myself while my dad was still alive, because I didn't want to put my wife into that position of having to deal with all of that. She spent 2 years caring for my dad, and before that for my stepmother. So I was just going forward, and she was making every decision. If she asked me to do something, I would try to do it. And if she asked me to do something, I didn't do a damn thing. So that show doesn't happen. And now we're in our planned 3-week break for having no Real Men Feel. And again, now my house is being staged. People are coming to look at it. I had to pack up everything. My fake wall and my light and all of that put away. And I still look like nobody lives in the house. And every picture I have, every bit of identity and proof that felt like I had to pack up proof that I was alive. And the only way I knew how to deal with that at all was to not be alive, to see this as kind of my long exit ramp. It's actually 4 years ago today when I quit corporate America to become a full-time coach and speaker and author. And it felt like such the right decision. It felt like the most right decision ever. And even now, I don't regret that. I just don't know what I did so wrong now along the way. 4 years ago, I said that a safe, comfortable job just wasn't enough. I couldn't do that anymore. And now, for the last 3 months, I'm desperately searching for a safe corporate America job. Yet that still feels so gross and disappointing. I put little to no action into that. Going on job interviews while feeling so apathetic, while watching my dad die. I mean, I knew I wasn't going to get anything from that. Although then I kept looking for signs and asking for support. And so I did have 2 companies that had long months and months of interviews and talking to people, and finally getting to the point of nothing, of nothing being offered to me. But towards the end of June, so it's the end of June, and the house is being shown, and Real Men Feel is on our plan to break. And my dog Sadie has 3 grand mal seizures in the middle of the night, 3 hours apart, and we had never seen anything like this, and we didn't know what the hell was going on. It was terrifying, and it felt like this sounds really fucking weird. It felt like she chose to do that to make me feel something, to have me be so concerned with her and focus just on her and figure out what the hell's going on, to get me out of my own shit. And worked for a little while. But yeah, so 2 things I love are movies and concerts, and just to see how withdrawn and hiding I've been. Haven't seen a single movie this summer. I had supposed to see 2 concerts. One was seeing U2 with a bunch of my buddies, but that was the day after, or the day of, Sadie's had us up all night, and we're at this emergency vet care, and the U2 show was that night, and I was like, I can't go. I don't know if I have to put my dog down. I didn't want to leave again. I didn't want to leave Lori to be stuck with this decision and sitting at the vet all day and wondering if the dog is going to be all right or not. So again, I blew off that show, and a few days later, it's my birthday, and feeling old for the first time because of the muscle injuries in May. I haven't been to the gym at all. I can't do anything, which just adds to my misery and apathy, and everything sucks, and woe is me, and my never-ending pity party. This keeps adding to it. So, worst birthday ever, I think. Worst 4th of July ever. Did nothing. Then the next day, my dad's dog is at doggy daycare, and another dog attacks him and sustains grievous injuries to his chest and lungs, and he's brought to the same all-night animal emergency vet that Sadie was just at, and Lori and I have to go there, and we had to put him down. At the same time, we're told that my dad's prognosis is rapidly decreasing, and in June, we're told he had 6 to 8 months. July 1st, it was weeks, and then it was days. And just seeing that all happen was just horrible. He would not know who he is sometimes. Each day was just like a different person, and we were fighting to have him stay in his own home, which is what he always wanted. Never wanted to be in a nursing home or anything like that, but he would be getting violent and belligerent, and we were wondering, are we going to be able to do this? But then he quickly just, again, changed, just seemingly overnight, became very passive. And the day we had to put his dog down was one of the last days he was like conscious and able to communicate. So he was quickly just, unconscious and in bed for the second whole week of July. And, just waiting and watching every day, just waiting for him to die. And I had been wanting him to pass for quite a while, to make it easier for him, to make it easier on me, to make it easier for Lori. So I thought when he finally died, it wasn't going to be a big deal. I was wrong. So he died on July 12th. And we had energy workers and people helping us out leading up to it. And one of the toughest things about my dad's passing was that I was told that he was sticking around because he was worried about me. And I needed to tell him that I was okay. I needed to tell him that I was okay so he could move on. And I couldn't do it. I knew I was very suicidal at that time. I hadn't admitted it to anyone else. I don't know if my wife was aware of how bad it was then or not. I'd just been holding on to his death as this milestone. I just get that far and then we'll see what happens. And I'll either get worse or I'll get better. And that next day after he died we had concert tickets for Joan Jett in Boston, and we didn't even realize it till after days later. So that was the next concert that I missed. I have no idea what I'm saying anymore. And during this time, seeing my dad die, seeing him and my stepmother before him, it worked. They were able to die at home. They were taken care of, all because of the actions of Lori. My stepmother didn't have any children of her own. I'm the only child of my dad. He's got brothers and sisters, but they weren't there taking care of him or anything. It was all Lori and the caretaker that she found and hired, and she was there every day. And I couldn't. I hated it. The last time I was alone with my dad, he just kept saying, "Help me, help me, help me," over and over, and I couldn't take it. So my dad's gone. I'm a lot more upset than I expected. I'm feeling the grief of all the time that I couldn't talk to him anyway. Now it's really official. Feeling the grief from my stepmom, because she died and then we just had to start taking care of him. There was no time to take any of it in. And back with my stepmom was this whole sense of betrayal and all this. She had lied to us about, finances being taken care of and money coming to us and money coming to my dad. And then it just wasn't fucking true. And so all that hurt had to be kind of ignored and bottled up for a while, because I couldn't talk about it with my dad. Because he would just, freak out. There's nothing anyone could do about it. So, but during this time, during last month in July, I'm starting, I think for the first time, regretting not having kids. I was like, seeing people die alone. I'm wondering, like, I don't want to I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that. Who's going to take care of me? There's nobody. I wondered if children would be the reason for me to keep going, doing it for them. And years and years ago, I would ask other guys I worked with who, seemed kind of down and miserable, ask them, like, well, why do you keep going? Why do you come to the job you hate? Why do you get up every day? And they say it was for their kids. Then Chester Bennington from Lincoln Park killed himself on July 20th. And he had 6 kids. So that's when I realized, well, it's not having kids. That's not the magic thing that can keep someone from ending their life. And seeing my dad not want to die, not want to leave, but slowly and fightingly, resistantly passing, I don't feel like I can honestly say it gets better, because it doesn't always get better. And I'm no longer sure that dying of old age is better than dying by suicide. Perhaps the worst aspect of all of this shit, of all these thoughts, of everything I'm rambling on, that's hopefully being coherent at some level. Nothing I've said so far isn't something I've said before. If change is the one constant in the universe, why do I keep coming back to the same self-destructive thoughts and patterns? This goes back to my theme of this. It's disappointment. Like, what am I fucking missing? What do I keep getting wrong that this is where I end up? Why don't I seek help at the first sign of feeling down? Why don't I do something about it then? Well, I guess sometimes I must. And even during this time, I've just been sleeping, watching TV, and eating. And I've laughed and I've enjoyed things and I've liked things on TV. But when that's all you want to do, it just sucks. I just pray not to get up each morning. That's when I know it's bad, when I'm not hoping for something good. I'm not wishing for clients. I'm not wishing for a great job. I'm just wishing for it all to stop. I'm writing suicide notes as I drift off to sleep in my head. Part of this energy, of this habit, is this whole idea that I'm not worth saving, that it's pointless. And again, this period, it feels worse than ever, because I thought I'd made so many gains. I've done so much work on myself and growth and service to others. And I really thought this year was the fruit of all these labors. And it feels like it's been the exact opposite. I sometimes feel like I'm back in this state because this is my truth. Life being good is the illusion. At the same time, my wife is coming. Go away. I love you. So at the same time of feeling so apathetic, so lost, and I've been hesitant to call this depression, but it is. I'm depressed. And I've been suicidal. And I've been researching, and I've been planning and plotting. Yeah, at the same time, I know I'm not supposed to be dead because I'm still alive. For me, not being dead, despite all the thoughts and energy and research around my own dying, is amazing. I need to, and I really wish I could see that for the miracle that it is. The sense of being drawn to death, yet knowing it isn't right, is hellish. That vicious, illogical back and forth is the twisting knife in my soul. It is a torture that I hope you can't relate to. I really do. But since I'm finally taking some action and I'm sharing all this freaking bile, I'm sure it resonates with more people than I wish. So I don't know what's next, but I feel pretty confident I'm sticking around. I'm not yet glad about that. No, I'm not. I can see the cowardice, the smallness in my withdrawal and isolation. And more I can see the bravery and the courage in speaking up, speaking out, sharing myself this disgustingly. So will this show help me really turn the corner for good and be the end of this cycle? Is this show benefiting you at all? Is it benefiting me? Yeah, it is. I'm not sure how much, not sure to what degree. I like to believe it is. On my own blog, on my coaching website, navitascoach.com, I would sometimes have shorter videos that I would call Sharing with Andy. And kind of anytime I ended up in tears, I'd call it a oversharing with Andy. So I hope this longer episode of Oversharing with Andy serves you in some way. I don't know when or if Real Men Feel will return or be new again. Give me some feedback as to if the show returning would be good for you or not. I've got 2 guests that were scheduled and blown off, and I've got a list of other potential guests as well. I just don't know if it matters or adds value. So thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening. Visit realmenfeel.org. Check us out on Facebook. Send me some feedback as to I should just pack it in or you want me to do something else. Most importantly, be good to yourself. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Real Men Feel. Until next time, visit realmenfeel.org, join the Real Men Feel group on Facebook, and share what you thought of this show. Please give this podcast a review on iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you are discovering Real Men Feel. reach out to us at realmenfeel@gmail.com. Learn more about Andy Grant at theandygrant.com and Appio Hunter at appiohunter.com.